Alright, everybody. Connor has to do a superhero movie plot for once. Connor, what is the plot of Thunderbolts? Yeah.
Thunderbolts Asterix.
Yes, Thunderbolts Asterix.
Dumbass. Thunderbolts Asterix is a movie starring Yelena from Black Widow, who is Florence Pugh's knockoff little Black Widow, and she's depressed because life sucks. And then she's sent to assassinate the Ghost from Ant-Man and the Wasp. Not Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumanium. See, there's Ant-Man, then there's Ant-Man and the Wasp, then there's Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumanium. But the next movie's going to be Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumanium turbocharged. Like, you just keep adding a fucking word at the end. Me and him were talking about this. But anyway, but then John Walker, U.S. agent, shows up with a slightly misinterpreted backstory. Where they're like, you're just corrupt cop, but he like killed a terrorist guy.
Yep.
So it was kind of weird, but then Taskmaster shows up and then they're like, uh-oh. So then they fight, and then they find Bob, who is the Sentry in a thing, and then they have to escape because the corrupt Seinfeld bitch is like, I'm corrupt or whatever, and we're gonna kill you.
Seinfeld so she's mad, so she has to continue.
Yeah, Seinfeld has been off the air for 30 years, and she's pissed. She's pissed that
Veep's been done for a while.
Veep's been done. She just has nothing left to do. So I haven't seen Veep, but presumably she's playing that character.
Cameos.
Yeah, there's nothing for her. There's nothing for her, so she's doing the Marvel for the paycheck. And so anyways, these guys come together, but then the Red Guardian comes out and saves them after they almost die. And then the Winter Soldier comes out and saves them again. And then
fucking pulling an Arnold Schwarzenegger Terminator.
But then like this Bob guy gets kidnapped, and then he becomes Sentry, who's like Superman. But instead of doing... They did evil Superman, but instead of doing like... He's like Trump supporter Superman, like you'd think he would. He's actually depressed Superman. He's got depression and he's a meth addict. And then he like, then everybody gets sucked into a blob, and then they have to go through group therapy, and then they become the Avengers. So Joe, what are your thoughts on Thunderbolts?
So it started out a little kind of messy. Like I felt like Oh, you didn't think it was messy?
No.
No, like it was a good movie, but like there was parts of it that like it felt like it was. What's the word? It was just it felt choppy.
It was girl boss messy.
Yes. See, Connor agrees.
It was like high heels, but you couldn't curl your hair that morning because you woke up late and you almost forget your Starbucks type of.
Yeah.
Messy.
Like it definitely. There's things I really like. The character moments were good. I like that this movie actually has feelings and tone, and I think that's really good. And I think the choreography is pretty good for what it's going for. It's a lot better than that shit they tried to sell us in Captain America 4.
It is nice that Yelena isn't just... I mean, they couldn't control themselves. They threw some of the Black Widow spin in. Like the body spin thing.
But only once.
But only like once or twice, and most of it's just her hitting people.
At least she's actually a better fighter. I feel like you see a lot more of her style to like see.
There's like actually like something to it.
Yeah.
Just like
real
the same
choreographer.
Yeah.
There was the Black Widow signature move, trademark, which they used every Black Widow appearance repeatedly, and then they even did it with the little Israeli Black Widow lady, Captain Israel, in the last movie. Oh
god, I forgot about Captain Israel.
Yeah, she did it like 9 times.
She was doing it. She found like an aid truck or something, and she
did the spin kick,
god,
snapping their necks.
That shit was funny.
They were in
vests. Just for the walls. That was bad. It's nice that Yelena, like, I like that she actually not only like, it's nice because you know that like when they do these kind of movies, especially with like, I kind of didn't know like what was the reason when they decided to do the Black Widow movie and bring all these characters in. You know, I get why David Harbour's in it because everyone's, you know, obsessed with Stranger Things, and I get they're using him for typical Marvel laws and comedies. So what do you expect, you know? I was trying to figure out like what's the reason that Marvel wants to have an actual good actress in their like laws of like just plot conundrums and not good, right? And so this movie really, I think, solidates that they know that they have a good actress and they're using her as the leader of this new team because, oh, well, look, she was in this movie. People like her. She like her as an actress, so we're going to keep using her because she's a good actress. But also, she does what we tell her, so we're going to do whatever. You work well in the Marvel machine.
That's kind of the mix, is like somehow Florence Pugh is allowed to like explore themes to an extent, which is something that she's probably likes to do, given that has a background in A24. I don't think she's like the best actress of all time.
No, she's not the. I'm not saying she's the best. I'm just saying like recent
when
memory.
Kevin Feige's studio notes came back that said maybe the climax should have like some dick and poopy jokes, the director told him no.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. He usually probably wanted that, and someone totally just the director had his own idea and just said nope. You know, so that's I feel like there's a lot like the character moments. I think they're really interesting. One thing about this movie, you know, just like with the Avengers movies and with the Suicide Squad movies, in any of these movies they try to do, the one thing I think that this movie really needed to do, that I think it does a pretty good job, but I think they could do more. Some of these characters really need a proper exposition stories without like having us be told their exposition, like actually seeing their stuff. Like I hate that they keep bashing us over the head with John Walker's backstory, but we never see his backstory. We saw a couple flashbacks in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and like, but it's barely there.
I didn't hate. Needed more.
I didn't hate the idea that like they had this like integrated flashback system with Sentry, which I thought was kind of good because you needed. The movie is about like mental illness for some reason, which is a strange idea for a Marvel movie, but like I appreciate it. I don't know how much it's gonna.
Yeah, the weird.
It's kind of like when they did Black Panther. Black Panther funeral movie. Like, there's a lot of different Marvel movies. They had the funeral
it's a lot
movie.
Less weird than that one.
Now this is like the Marvel overcome depression by just get friends, bro movie.
Yeah,
just get
literally
friends.
It's the same ending as Evangelion.
Pretty much, but. Yeah, no, I mean, I agree to an extent. There is a point where, like, there is some, like, trauma dumping moments, and I think, like, some moments, like, you were in the bathroom for this, Joe, but there's this moment where Yelena's, like, trapped in a moment she regrets in her life that kind of leads to the core of her being down, and she's trying to run from it, but then she realizes she has to, like, confront it. It's very, like, Marvel way of... It's like the most Marvel way you could possibly talk about, like, confronting negative emotions, I guess. Which is sort of interesting, I suppose. Anyways, sorry to hijack your...
No, it's all, we're all sharing our thoughts here. It's all good with the narrative twist there is really interesting. I really do feel like, I don't know what it is, but, like, something about, like, obviously when they're doing the typical, like, depressed, awkward kid, but from the moment the plot just decides to, like, okay, now we're really pushing into the Sentry direction, going into the void, the movie started to really kind of make its own, like, kind of come together, and you're like, I feel like the moment that he was not just the awkward, depressed kid, once he was the mind-controlled, like, Homelander wannabe, like,
like they definitely were forced to do like the evil Superman's got to beat up Thunderbolts, but then I like that the movie, like, for the last like climax, which is normally like a bombastic fight, becomes like some like introverted weird thing. It was kind of it was interesting.
It is weird that there wasn't a final boss fight, which was interesting, but it's okay because they had a good narrative ending.
It was Mean Bob.
It was definitely...
They had to confront their emotions about Mean Bob.
About Mean Bob. I like the fact when the good Bob and the bad Bob were beating the shit out of each other. I thought that was interesting. Like, oh, this is my shit self. This is my good self. Okay, that's kind of interesting that they're playing.
This movie's probably about Kevin Feige's blues that he's only made flops the last like 4 years.
Yeah,
Kevin Feige probably wrote this movie.
I'm not gonna lie. I think he's
like throwing some self-doubt. Divorce.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie.
What if my wife's bull showed up in the movie? I mean,
this This is one of the best rooms I've found.
Kevin Feige standing there with a baseball hat on and nothing else, nodding his head
He
to.
changes all his hats no matter what. Yeah, no, that was pretty accurate. I think.
He's got the new Avengers hat on.
I gotta say, out of
He's got
all
his
moments
arms
in this
crossed
movie,
and he's nodding while he watches.
I feel like the one moment that I think really just got attention. I'm glad that it got out of the way right away. The first time, whenever they announced this Thunderbolts movie, or Thunderbolts asterisks, I should say.
I was gonna yell at you for that.
Was when they literally fucking like announced the team and they're like, oh, so you're gonna be this character and this character, and then they announced Taskmaster. I'm like, what the fuck is Taskmaster gonna be doing in this? And then literally, thank God, she just was there, fought for a little bit.
I didn't
died.
even realize the Taskmaster's still alive. I thought she died in the crappy Black Widow
No,
movie. I don't
they
remember.
like made it look like she died, and then she was like laying on the ground, and then Natasha runs up to her and she's like, "Oh my gosh, like you're actually like a good guy or something," and she's like, "That is so true, my brother."
Yeah.
And then
They
they
didn't
never
know what to
mentioned
do
her
with her, so
again,
they
and
just
then they were
killed
like,
They gave her the Flash treatment, where it's like, oh, we give you a pep talk. We can do better with you, even though you're a villain, since you're a lesser good character than the version that you're based off, and since you're a female, okay, you're good.
It
So-
was kind of tropey because I felt like, and obviously the movie went in a very different direction than I assumed. I thought this would just be Suicide Squad, but
Oh, thank God it was.
Marvel version. And when I saw her die, I was like, this is the same thing as when they killed off Slipknot, I think, from Suicide Squad.
The bungee cord.
Where he dies in like 2 seconds, but they like, to make it a twist, they gave him like the character posters and stuff. But obviously you never see him in the trailer other than like the first action shot. So that's what I thought. That's the direction I thought they were.
Yeah.
Again, I was like, fuck, it is exactly what I thought it was. And then it wasn't, which was good.
Thank God.
I feel like the marketing made it pretty obvious that she was going to die. I'm just glad that we didn't get to spend more than 5 minutes with her, because I just can't stand the existence of that character.
Yeah.
So I'm just glad that, like...
I thought it'd be like
character.
Suicide Squad, and then like, you know how the flame guy, Pyro or whatever?
Yeah.
El Quartet, or El fucking...
El Diablo.
Yeah.
El Diablo from Suicide Squad dies. I thought that's what they were going to do with Ghost, because they did not... They were like, okay, all the knockoff Captain Americas and knockoff Black Widow are together, and then
Ghost
you
is
had
there, too.
Ghost, and like they did not know what to do with her the whole movie. She was just kind of there.
It's kind of
All
annoying.
the, all the
It's
I
other
feel like her
characters
scenes
have
got cut
something
or
going on.
something.
Ghost is kind of just there, and she's
It's
like,
weird.
well,
It's like they're
you know, I
trying
did
to
some
make
bad
it's
things,
like
but I'm
it's
kind of
like,
like nice now.
it feels
So
like
she
they're
just is.
trying to like be like, well, we're sorry we made Ant-Man 3. We know it sucked. So like, remember Ghost from Ant-Man 2? You don't hate that movie as much. So here you
That is
go.
Ghost from Ant-Man 2.
That's kind of the thing about Ant-Man 2 is I definitely don't hate it. The problem
I
with
don't even
See, you
remember
got Ant-Man
Ant-Man
1,
2.
which was just an Edgar Wright movie that Peyton Reed chugged to the finish line. It was kind of like, but it was the same
Yeah.
situation Sony or Disney did with Tony Gilroy getting Andor, and we don't got to talk too much about Andor because I haven't seen it yet. But like Tony Gilroy took over for Gareth Edwards, and that's why they gave him the Andor show. But like Peyton Reed took over, and they're like, "Yeah, we're too lazy to hire someone else." Like, you don't know if he's good or not. He just went off of exactly what he cheated off of Edgar Wright's homework, but did it in the Marvel parameters.
Just keep doing the test.
And then,
just keep
like,
shooting
the
on
second
Ant-Man
Ant-Man
2
was
is a
like, I
movie
guess
no one
that's
remembers.
fine. And then Ant-Man 3 was like Peyton Reed like wrote. That was the only one
Worst
he
movie
wrote
of all
and stuff.
time,
And it's
yeah.
like he absolutely should never pick up a pen again. I don't think that man should have the authority to write his own name after seeing Ant-Man 3.
Yeah.
Let's not forget
Yeah.
that Jeff loved this, and what's his face? The guy that did parts of Loki, Michael Waldron. They should never be writers ever again.
I saw the first season of Loki and the second, and I thought it was okay. And then the second season came out, and it was like, I'm Loki and I'm working at McDonald's. I'm like, I'm not watching this shit. It's Kang and Loki working at McDonald's together. I'm like, this sucks. This looks like shit. This looks like absolute shit.
I'm not gonna lie, it actually it makes me sad that like I think one of the saddest things is I'm actually kind of glad that Ant-Man 3 turned out as terrible as it is, because your videos on that movie is the greatest video I've ever seen. Oh,
That
so
movie's a nightmare.
It's
I'm
it's
gonna
just
make a second video on it.
Unlike the movie we saw tonight, the Thunderbolts,
the Thunderbolts.
which we were talking
So, Aiden,
about.
what is your thoughts on the Thunderbolts?
They made Evangelion for white people. It is good. They got a real cinematographer. They got the guy who did the Green Knights. There's lots of fancy shooting.
For some reason, did he do another Marvel movie, or is this the
He
only
did
one?
Moon Knight.
Oh.
But they were given a budget of approximately like
$40.
$150.
Well, Moon Knight looked pretty okay.
Moon
Like,
Knight
the
looked
cinematography
good. It was
was
just
like
really
the one
boring.
thing that didn't suck in Moon Knight, frankly.
Yeah.
I kind of forgot Moon Knight existed.
He was allowed a lot of freedom to just do interesting things, especially when it comes to Century's Dream World.
yeah.
I don't know who they got for the choreography, but whoever it was better than whoever they've been hiring for the last 15
Captain America
years.
dog shit choreography on that one.
They've had unlimited budget for years and never hired anyone behind the camera that should be behind the camera, and spent all the money on actors. And I guess they saved so much hiring all the B-listers for this one that they were able to afford to
I
spend
think
some
that's
money on
true.
someone who's competent at
I think
technical
with this one,
aspects
I think
of
the difference
filmmaking.
with this movie is, other than like the whole Century Dream World and the Century's powers, for the most part, I think they got to save some money because they literally don't have to deal with that. This movie doesn't have to connect to the multiverse. It doesn't have to keep
Right.
Yeah,
doing
that
the
too.
constant
That was
jokes
so
and
nice that we didn't have
They
to.
didn't have to get the
I,
Korean
at
CGI
first-
studios to make a fucking nightmare hellscape.
At
for them to
first, I
stand
didn't
in.
mind like Marvel's cosmic look, and in some of the movies, like Guardians and shit, it looks fun. But then other movies like the Marvels and Ant-Man 3, it looks like fucking
It looks awful.
vomit. It looks like barf.
Yeah, they gave the poor little Korean animators in the CGI sweatshop a break and let them take the week
You know
off.
what's sad
They
about this
actually
movie
had
coming?
sets. In this
You know,
one.
it's sad that this movie
Yeah.
is going to be.
locations.
Yeah.
It's sad this movie comes out right before Doomsday and everything, and Fantastic Four and everything else that's going to come out, because I know instantly Marvel's never going to make another movie like this, and it's never going to get to.
I'm sure they
this
will
level.
after the reboot, maybe.
I mean, it depends. Because
I
here's
think
the
all
thing.
those other movies are too far along to be saved.
I think depending on what happens with James Gunn's like Swamp Thing or not Swamp Thing, the Clayface, the smaller one, I think Marvel might start ripping that because James Gunn's like, what if we also just did superhero Blumhouse, which is a genius move.
Yeah.
To
Honestly.
put that as the side, like you have like the tent poles, and then you got the Blumhouse,
Yep.
and that's
Yeah.
really smart. I want to see like Cowboy or Kid Colt. I want to see a Kid Colt Western movie that takes place in 1800s, and then Kang shows up and he's like, "You're going in the multiverse, Bucko."
Beyond,
Whatever party pooper ass move they'd finish the movie off.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I think that's interesting.
Beyond-
They kind of go with that cookie cutter approach of like, that's why I think it's gonna be interesting when Superman comes out to see if James Gunn really is kind of feeling like the foundation. Like, does he understand? He worked through the machine of Marvel, but like, is he gonna try to actually integrate something that is actually interesting and actually new and fresh because we're watching a new movie, right? Or is there too much of his edgelord online rage that just lash out at people and focus on cyberbullying and whatever he wants to do? I mean, I just hope that he keeps his ideology out of his movies and just like, because he needs to.
I think if you
Anyway.
keep it, anyways, yeah, we'll go.
Yeah.
Beyond the technical stuff, which is really good in this movie, there's actually characters.
Yeah.
The ghost gets shafted, she has nothing to do.
That's true.
I guess Taskmaster gets shafted by nature of
Well, actually,
dying
she doesn't
in
just
30
get shafted.
seconds.
Now that you mention it, since they mentioned that her powers only last for a minute, I figured out where she went. So every time that she is, that she's not in the movie, she's having really bad 1 minute sex every 5 minutes that she's
I
going.
don't know how that's even possible.
Yeah, I don't know
I don't know
either.
that possible
I don't know
sexual
either. But it's like
And
it's like
the-
every time because she goes in and out, right? So she's going. But imagine like you're going, you're going here and then you're going out. So it's like
David Harbour's a screaming cartoon character, and they
Yep.
don't really have anything to do with him. He's the comedy relief, I guess, so he can
Yeah,
be there.
that's what he does his job.
I would have
dude.
preferred if he wasn't, but, whatever.
I think he was kind of like we had
You needed
enough
something.
Captain America.
You needed something.
Yeah.
We had 2 Captain Americas. We didn't need David Harbour to be number 3.
Yeah, I don't know why they needed to. It's weird that like I don't know.
I guess
why
you
they-
needed someone who's less, depressing and weird than the main cast to be there, but I don't know if I would have gone with screaming cartoon Russian man, and maybe someone else. Yeah, even Sentry who's introduced in this movie, they have a lot to do with him. They got a little plot for him. They got themes. They got a very bold ending where instead of like a fucking space laser and a clone antagonist battle on a skyscraper, they just fucking talk to their buddy, calm them down, and it's bold. It's like a real movie. It's got themes, tackling in a mostly serious manner the nature of trauma and depression in like a serious way, and there's no like stupid jokes for the climax. Well, not many, and the ones that there aren't completely stupid. Yeah, it's like they made a real movie. It's pretty good. It's fun. It's interesting. It's well crafted, well made. Like they did it. They made a real movie again. They put all the pieces together.
It happened.
They made something that wasn't just awful corporate slop again. They made something that wasn't whatever the last 5 years have been.
No real agenda in this one either, which is
awful
which is good.
stuff.
It's nice that they didn't have an agenda for once. They
know,
have female characters, and there's no like female weird Disney agenda.
It's just human.
It's just
human
just a thing.
Stuff.
It was. I was impressed. I don't think it'll change a lot in the future.
No.
I think the movies that are on the slate already are probably too far along to get any benefit from this movie being good.
Yes.
I also think this movie, if I'm being nihilistic, it's doomed to flop, and Marvel fans will be confused about the ending and hate it.
Yeah. That's probably also true. But optimistically, they'll learn some lessons and make real movies again for a little bit. After the universe resets in the shitty stunt casting references nostalgia movie thing.
If you want to even consider it a movie.
Yeah, whatever
shame.
the Avengers thing turns out to be.
It's a crying shame that Fantastic Four has to follow up this movie. That makes me sad.
Yeah, it could be worse.
It makes me depressed.
Could be worse. It could be Avengers Doomsday.
Yeah, the Fantastic Four teaser at the end is something. I mean,
people cheered.
We all kind of knew it was coming because, like, the ending of the Fantastic Four movie was obvious, and it had to happen somewhere. And I guess, like, happening here, where they just come
also
through
makes
the
sense
space rift, is
since
like
you ended
okay.
the movie in New York, and since they're basically using the watchtower at the base of New York, it makes sense they'd tie things in with everything that's going on. So.
Yeah, I don't know. Once Doomsday resets everything and merges all the universes together so they can recast all the people and have characters people like again, hopefully some of the lessons learned in the Thunderbolts are carried forward and we can get real movies again for a time. But who knows how this will actually play out, because this movie's like weird and a real movie. So probably won't go over well with the Marvel audience. Which is sad,
because it's a real movie, we're probably not going to get as much. It's probably not going to make as much in the box office, because you're going to get the typical Disney shows that want the garbage that they want the entire time. So it's like it's too bad that a real movie probably won't be as appreciated as you would hope, because it's.
Yeah. But it's not just the Disney shows; it's also the Marvel fan base.
Because they want to do the casuals. They want to make just.
I mean, the Marvel fans want fucking.
They want slop.
They want blue space laser, mirror antagonists.
What the Marvel fans asked
laser
for
shooting.
Was these guys beating the hell out of Sentry, and they made that into a fucking farce for 5 minutes, and they're like, okay, that's not what this movie's about at all. So he's no longer fake Superman.
Other note, I'm so glad that this isn't just evil Superman thing, because I'm so sick of evil Superman thing.
That was my concern.
I was really... The reason I was dreading this movie is because I was like, oh, it's Suicide Squad, but they fight like Homelander. Thank fucking God it's not that shit. Jesus Christ.
Yes, if you were scared that it was what the easiest, most... I'm fucking amazed Kevin Feige allowed them to do this, because I'm sure at the pitch they're like, I want to do like Sentry as the villain, and he's like, well, if they like, what if it was like Homelander versus the Suicide Squad? and they're probably like, well, no, it's like a weird movie about everyone wants to kill themselves. And one of our villains, a meth head, who's just sad. And then Kevin Feige is probably like, you know what, my career is tanking right now. I have to make one that'll flop, but like maybe get good critical reviews. So I'll just sacrifice the box office to get one that we can call critically.
Yeah.
He's like, we're gonna allow you to make a real movie this time.
Yeah.
But Thunderbolts 2 is gonna be fucking stupid. I can guarantee.
Yeah.
New Avengers in the Multiverse of Madness.
Maybe once they don't make new Avengers until
all the
until the
characters
reboot happens.
all the characters in the new Avengers are young enough that they can carry them over when they reboot everything.
Yeah.
All the X-Men people, they're
Or not,
old,
'cause this
they're
movie
crusty,
probably
they're
flopped.
gone. All the original 2007 era Phase 1 people, they're old, they're crusty, they're gone.
Yeah.
The new Avengers, they're new characters, they're young actors. They can kill U.S. Agent, they can give him a dramatic moment.
I feel like
And all the other ones, they can kill Red Communist Mr.
that's who they
Communist.
should kill. If they're
They'll
gonna
kill him. They'll
somebody-
kill U.S. Agent.
They can kill
Florence
they
Pugh's
can-
moving to the next universe. Bucky probably not.
Bucky is. I feel like you probably kill off like Bucky and Red Guardian, and then
Yeah.
I
think
feel
you
like
keep-
John Walker is gonna have. I think the goal for him is to make like an arc where he's less of an asshole.
Yeah, I think they're gonna give him turn him into a really good.
They started
good
that
character.
arc here. Crazy.
Maybe it'll be like
You can have
it'll like
ongoing
time jump to
character arcs.
2028, and he'll be at the presidential polls, and he'll like fill in the bubble for Kamala, so that we know that he's no longer a racist.
Yeah, they.
It'll be like Kamala Harris AOC ticket, and he'll.
It's crazy to think that John Walker's
That's
still an
smart.
asshole at the end of this movie, but
Yeah,
they
yeah.
started a character arc of him becoming nicer, like an ongoing.
Well, maybe
Yeah,
character
see,
arc.
that's crazy too, because like with Tony Stark, and I like the Tony Stark character in most of his roles, but one thing they did with Tony Stark is it would be like Iron Man 1, character arc, Iron Man 2, he's
Same
back here
character
somewhere, and then he does the same character arc. Iron Man 3, he's just, they do like a PTSD thing, but he still's got to move back just a little. And then,
Yeah,
like,
and
the
then
rest
in
of the
all the
movies, they
Avengers
just said,
movies,
fuck it, he
just-
doesn't have
he's
a
just a
character.
guy.
He's not even a character. He's just a guy in a Superman cut. He's got a super Iron Man armor, and he's got the newest
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing, like, there's themes in, like, a handful of movies. Iron Man 1 has themes. Iron Man 3 has themes. There's...
kind of in Black
is-
Panther, I guess, where he becomes a.
where he's like...
He's like, maybe I should be slightly more like my evil doppelganger, because in his heart he had some good ideas or something. That's kind of.
There's like a
not
Malcolm X versus Martin Luther King, but that ends in a CGI
tree
battle. CGI trade battle that looked like shit because everyone was working on the Avengers movies.
Yeah.
So I guess maybe we could give themes. We'll call it the Black Panther. Because one thing I have in my normal movie reviews that I don't have when I review Marvel movies is a themes tab to my template. Because there's no point in even trying. Or if I add it, I just usually delete it right away. Because I'm like, well, what am I supposed to discern from like Avengers Age of Ultron?
What is the
like
theme?
Technology bad? Or
What is
maybe
the
technology...
theme of Thor 2? Any takers? Anything?
It
What the
is
theme
a
is.
dark universe, or it's a dark dimension. There's a very evil elf coming. He's a very naughty
Loki
boy.
might be a nice guy sometimes.
Oh
I
yeah,
guess.
like forgive your brother because he'll fake his death for the 8th time, and then he'll actually die one time. But then that'll be like soft retcons. Like they didn't really want to go through with it, but they kind of did. But they signed a new contract, so he's kind of alive. But it's just like he was like 5. It was like
How are
3
they gonna
years
handle that
earlier. But he's like
conversation
an
when they
immortal
Black
see
god.
each
Widow
other?
might have had a theme. I don't remember it.
No, yeah, Black Widow's like family.
You
It was
know?
like Fast and Furious 7.
plausible.
Theming. It was a little cheap.
It's plausible that Ant-Man 2 has a theme because I don't remember what happens in that movie.
Shang-Chi, it's like I'm mad at my dad. I don't think
Yeah,
that's really a theme.
Yeah, well, there wasn't.
No,
there was
I don't think
actually.
Eternals had the theme of grotesque CGI, and Angelina Jolie has Alzheimer's. She has space Alzheimer's because she's
I
so
thought the
immortal
theme-
that her
I
because
thought the
she
theme-
ran out of gigabytes in her brain because she was alive too long.
No, the theme of the Eternals was
You'd
that
run out
if
of
you
space.
deny the weird little
The little
jailbait,
gremlins.
gremlin, lesbian sex, she'll become evil and summon like a monster thing.
Is that what happened? I
Yeah,
thought she
'cause
was
she-
a good guy.
No, there's the
Who's
evil guy, the one guy who turns evil.
Icarus was evil.
Icarus is
Superman, evil blonde
But then
Superman.
the little-
not this evil blonde Superman.
the
a
little
different one.
midget who
We're talking
looks
about like you don't remember
the little
Eternals
Irish
because no one
midget,
does, but there was
the
the
little
guy.
Irish midget who looks like a child is like, I want to fuck you, Icarus, and he's like, no, and then she's like, okay, well, I guess I'll just be like your servant. We can summon the evil monster thing together, and then the Chinese lady goes, oh, that's bad, I guess. I don't know.
And then
then
Angelina
Blade shows
Jolie's
up
like,
and
I have Alzheimer's.
the Blade movie got canceled.
There's a theme. There's a running theme in Marvel of creating new plot lines that go nowhere.
Yeah, like the Ghost.
So they're like, we
who's now
gotta
in this
pack.
movie.
And I do like that. Like Captain America 4 is a movie that absolutely died for the sins of Marvel's bloated nature because they're like, we're gonna
Gotta
resolve
wrap up
like
all the Hulk
10
shit.
really stupid plot lines.
Gotta wrap
at
up the Captain
cost.
America shit.
Oh my god, Captain America 4 is so
This movie,
awful in
this
comparison
movie
to
also
this.
does the same thing,
To an
but
extent, yeah.
more gracefully and less awkwardly, and also like it doesn't really resolve them, but it takes like all the characters that they had nothing to do with, who were just alive and around, and puts them somewhere, which is dead. On the new Avengers, on the new Avengers, on the new Avengers, on the new Avengers. and
So
on the new
presumably we're
Avengers.
gonna have the new Avengers.
I just
The Avengers led by Sam Wilson. Then we're gonna have the Young Avengers. Then we're gonna
I don't know
have
if
the
Young
Dark
Avengers is happening
Avengers.
anymore.
Then we're gonna have the Space Avengers.
I think the Young Avengers
Asgardian
plotline probably
Avengers.
got dropped with Kang, because like, what are they gonna do? Like, bring the little girl from Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania back to play like
Oh.
Wasp Jr.
Yeah, but
and,
you
like,
also
Hawkeye's
have the
daughter.
girl. Do you remember there
Haley
was the
Steinfeld.
superhero girl from that Doctor Strange movie? No one remembers.
America
Yeah,
Chavez.
there's
America
Haley
Chavez.
Steinfeld from the Hawkeye show. No one
She's
remembers.
probably getting a little. I mean, she's always been. She's probably a little expensive when they hired her. She was like
Yeah.
she was the Beyonce of the Young
Isn't
Avengers.
there one more? Oh, there's Ironheart, who's in the funeral movie.
They got her show coming next
That
year.
comes in June. It's coming out
Oh,
like next
are they
month. They're
releasing that? I thought they
unceremoniously
canceled that for
Marvel doesn't
the
cancel
War
big
Machine.
No.
projects like that.
No,
They
the
just-
problem is
they
they
canceled
shot it in
Blade.
2022 and they didn't know what to do with it because it was
They
shit.
canceled Blade because it wasn't finished. Ironheart's finished.
I guess.
Yeah, that was the thing. But it's like maybe Marvel needs to fire Kevin Feige and hire David Zaslav. You know what I'm saying? Like
David
Just someone
Zaslav is
needs
an
to get there
David
and call him.
Zaslav is the MVP of movies. I know everybody hates him, but like
No, I love
he
that guy.
saved us from watching Batgirl.
He did.
He saved. I mean, they're like I think the one Looney Tunes movie was charming that he cut, but I'm like,
It's
you
still
know,
coming out. Another company bought it.
Yeah, no, well, there's
Well,
a
they already
second
released
one.
one of them.
They
Yeah.
can't, he
it
rolled
flopped
the
again.
heads of 2 Looney Tunes movies, and they sold one that came out a couple months ago.
and it flopped.
It
So he was
flopped.
right to cut it. Like
It
from a
did. No
business
one wanted to
standpoint.
watch
Like
it.
I thought it was a good movie. I thought it was cute, but if I was in David Zaslav's position, I probably
He
would
was
have done the
right.
same.
He was proven right.
He was right.
David Zaslav
And
needs to
Acme
replace
versus
Kevin
Coyote
Feige.
also gonna
That's
flop.
my dream. David Zaslav can take over Star Wars and
Oh.
Marvel
Well, to be fair,
and any franchise.
to be fair, whoever's running Star Wars, Kathleen Kennedy.
They need to
was-
butcher John Wick.
Kathleen-
he needs to come in here and put a stop to
Kathleen
John
Kennedy.
Wick. He needs
For all
those John Wick-
Kathleen's faults,
John Wick 5 never should
Kathleen
happen.
was very good
Yeah.
at David Zaslaving off all the shitty Star Wars ideas that she greenlit. Of course, she never would have had to cancel all those movies if she didn't greenlight them, but she
Yeah.
did also kill them all.
Her
They all
issue is
never
she's,
came out.
she's
All
the
of
problem
them.
with
Like
Kathleen
1,000
Kennedy
of them.
is she used to be a good producer, and I think she's really bad at saying no to people who bring shitty ideas to her.
Yeah.
And then sometimes they slip through the cracks and actually come out, and that's when the problems emerge.
Plus
Because she did like
now she's
like
dead.
2. Amy Pascal's doing the new James Bond. Anyways,
Yeah,
pass
it's
it to
gonna
me.
be- Connor, what'd you think of Thunderbolts? Asterisk.
I thought Thunderbolts Asterix was good because it wasn't what I thought it was gonna be.
Thank God.
Like,
I would have
I-
hated this if
I-
it was Homelander.
there was a
movie.
moment they really wanted to say, and I think most directors would have said, Sentry is now evil Superman, like Revenge of the Sith style. Like in 2 seconds, he was corrupted by Seinfeld bitch, and I was like, thought that's the direction they were going, and I do think that was a little rushed because he's like, Yelena's my best friend ever, she's great,
Yeah.
and then 2 seconds later, he's like, I'm a god guy. But then you kind of learn that there's like this dichotomy in him where you got Bob or Robert or whatever, and you got the Void.
Yeah, then he
And
goes and
somewhere
takes
in
Adam
the
Driver's
middle
job
is
and
the
just comes
Sentry.
in and becomes so dark.
And it's like a gradient. And I think Sentry, I mean, even in the original comics, this was kind of the idea of him is like you got like this kind of weird dichotomy between like pathetic, sad life, Bob, and this like great guy. And then when you push past that, then there's just like this emptiness. And I mean, they actually, instead of deciding to be like, he's gonna smirk and like vote for Donald Trump and make gay jokes or something, like they do with Homelander and all the other evil Superman movies.
Another one that's also in Mortal Kombat.
The one that's also in Mortal Kombat, the other Omni-Man and all them. The problem with them is it's like, what if Superman
Was a Republican.
Which, I mean, like, Superman, they did that with Superman. It's called Dark Knight Returns. It wasn't even an original idea when they made that idea up. But now it's like, what if we had, like, evil Republican man who's, like, gay, like a closeted homosexual, but in a bad way. And then, like, what if he was, like, evil and, like, killed people and was, like, Superman? And that is, like... You can only get away with that plot so many times for so long. So the fact that they were like, we'll give him the evil Superman fight for like a second. Like if Bob never became Sentry again and was just kind of there, I'd be fine with it. I'd be fine if they just never did another Thunderbolts movie because this movie was so good. And the problem is like,
the next one's gonna suck shit.
How do you make? I guess maybe if they do another like New Avengers movie or something, like a sequel called New Avengers. But then they're just like pathetic, and it's not like, you know, playing dramatic score and they're running around fighting Loki, and they just are still like stupid and weird and pathetic and depressed. And I mean, I guess you can kind of move from the depression and try to find a different angle. But I mean, like, I liked the idea of like lame, sad, pathetic Avengers, and it almost gives you hope for Marvel. But I think this was kind of. I think this movie was maybe like, let's just prove to them that we can do like some sort of actual movie kinda, and then kind of make like an interesting twist and stuff before, because I mean when we look at the upcoming
make the fucking slop,
you got
we return to the
Fantastic Four, which is prelude to slop,
remake
because
of
really
the Rise
like
of the Silver Surfer.
It's the remake of the Rise of the Silver Surfer, but instead of fighting off Cloud Galactus, now we have ugly human Galactus, which. I'm going to go out on a limb and say, like, Galactus works in the comic book medium. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that we're going to wish we never saw whatever CGI abomination they come up with.
Because they won't show him.
It's probably going to...
No, they'll show him, and
it's going to end up looking
it's
like...
I mean, for the marketing, they're not showing
like, can we recall when they
MODOK.
when they got the balls enough to try to bring MODOK live action and not...
it's going to look like that.
Why didn't they just make it like a puppet or something weird? Like, or just CGI fully, I don't know. I don't know what the solution to MODOK is, but they picked the worst fucking possible thing, like the weird Snapchat filter.
And then they had to CGI out his ass cheeks.
Yeah, the ass cheeks gate. They had to CGI out the fact that his bare ass cheeks were hanging out. That was so stupid. And then after Fantastic Four, you got Avengers. This one I think is Doomsday first, and Secret Wars is second, or whatever. Doesn't matter.
Well, no, it'll be Doomsday, then Spider-Man, then Secret Wars.
Well, yeah, that's what I was getting to. So you got Doomsday, and then Spider-Man's the mid-quill, where he's like, oh man, I really just wanted to be a normal Spider-Man, but now I'm swinging around Avengers. And it's like, can I please just have a real Spider-Man movie again?
I would
please.
I'd take the Amazing Spider-Man.
Honestly, like, I really liked No Way Home, but like honestly, like I would be fine if like the Marvel Cinematic Universe lost Spider-Man and they just brought back Mark Webb, because I think the movies would be more memorable. They'd be terrible, but they'd be more memorable.
Yeah.
Okay, not Mark Webb. That was a little extreme.
We can aim a little higher than Mark Webb.
It was a little extreme to say Mark Webb, but
we can aim a little higher than that.
I don't know. Just fire Tom Holland. I don't want to see him anymore. I don't know.
Yeah,
fire.
We've done enough.
We're done. Just
Iron Boy.
Just never make another Spider-Man movie. I'm done with them. Never make another movie again. I don't want to see anymore. That might be the Void talking.
The Void of Connor. The Void. Total true emptiness. Just.
Yeah, and then we got the Super Slop reboot machine. and then they start fresh with the X-Men, I guess.
My point is, it kind of makes me sad that they're like, we decided to make one last real movie on the way out, because I don't see how they could survive moving forward. The reason they haven't announced shit after Avengers is because until they see the first Avengers numbers, there ain't shit. And after that first Avengers comes, like Fantastic Four, Avengers, Spider-Man, and Avengers all in a row, there's a reason they're dropping that catalog, and it's because
this is the end.
This is the fucking Hail Mary. Yep. They either gotta find interest in this, or
I don't think they're gonna just wait 5 years because they can't get that reboot if these movies flop. So
no, I mean, wait 5 years, then you come back with Spider-Man and Iron Man and all them.
Yeah,
is it worth trying to lag on the MCU as a concept, or do you maybe do like
they hit the reboot
what
button.
James Gunn did, and hit
if it works out, they wait a year and release the X-Men. If it doesn't work out, they wait 5 years and release the X-Men.
The problem is with their release the X-Men plan, they already have their people that are going to make their X-Men planned out, because they're
and they'll fire them and cancel the movie.
Yeah, they could.
That's
do
the
that.
thing. It's
literally
like
doesn't matter.
The production. The reason they haven't announced anything, they're testing the waters with a lot of stuff right now. Like they're like, this movie's probably the water tester for like if a movie gets like good critical score and it's kind of weird, like will that maybe bring people in? Because the thing is, Marvel I think is at the point where they realize like we have a few viable IPs that'll probably make money next to no matter what, but they want to see like with Avengers, is it going to compare to Endgame and Infinity War? I mean, not likely. It seems like it would be some kind of miracle to like hit like first Avengers numbers at this point, but then you got like Spider-Man. How does a weird Spider-Man movie compare to the numbers? Because I think right now No Way Home is the highest Spider-Man movie because of the gimmick, but like you can't use that gimmick twice. And before that, Amazing Spider-Man 2 was the highest. Everyone hated Amazing Spider-Man 2, but it outsold the first two normal Spider-Man movies, and they're like, well, the gimmick is what counts. But you can't just bring back Tobey and Andrew repeatedly and expect it to work. The fact that they keep gimmick casting is why these movies don't make money, because no one gives a fuck about gimmick casting anymore.
Yep.
So they're testing the waters. I don't think we'll see any announcement till the first. If this first Avengers movie gets good scores and makes a lot of money, and like or Fantastic Four or Spider-Man, that's when we'll get hints of like the mutants and stuff. But until I think Marvel has confidence, I think Secret Wars. They probably don't know if it's a soft reboot right now or if it's the full plug pulled.
I think no matter what, how well Secret Wars is received is just going to affect when we get an X-Men movie. I think they're going to have to start with the X-Men just to give people time on everything else.
Yeah.
Which is why they'll kill the X-Men and then bring the X-Men in. Which is going to be funny because you know what?
If Secret Wars does good, we can expect an X-Men in like 2029. And if it does bad, we'll probably get it like 2035 and start fresh from the X-Men either way.
I feel like...
I think that's probably...
I don't think they'll actually have the balls to wait 5 years, but they'll wait like 3. It's the thing. Same thing with Superman. I mean, DC started flopping and the DCEU had a depressing, slow death and it died alone with no fans in the theaters. And then they said, okay, we're going to push the fuck out of a Superman movie. It doesn't matter if it makes a penny as long as it looks like things are going to go in the green. Like, they have to be paying so much money. Superman is just like the movie that's advertised the most, next to like Fantastic
But if this movie flops, they're cooked because Warner Brothers has no money.
It's not going to flop. It probably. I mean, I would be shocked if it flops. Like Flash and shit, people were like, "What the fuck?" On so many levels, because like Ezra Miller was a fucking pedophile and beating the shit out of everybody in the lead up to the movie. He was in like fucking wasn't able to promote the movie because his promotion for the movie is like, "I'm really sorry, I was a child molester and I beat the shit out of people." That's not good movie promotion.
Yeah,
but you got like David,
and then like the Flash was also tied to the sinking ship of the DCU, and also
Blue
it was
Beetle,
like
no one
really
cared.
fucking weird. And Blue Beetle was just like a bad generic Iron Man with Mexican people.
Aquaman was a fumble, but they didn't put money into it because they're like, there's no point in whatever this movie does is fairly irrelevant at this point. So they just kind of let it depressingly flop out, and it still like did better than most of the recent movies, in fairness.
Yeah.
But like Shazam 2, they waited way too long. No one cared anymore. No one cared. So that's probably what I think. I don't think Marvel's death will be. I think there'll be a little more, hopefully a little more grace. But I mean, also the main character is going to be Robert Downey Jr. as Doctor Doom. So,
And keep in mind,
what does Marvel know about grace?
yeah, and keep in mind that the fact that like, with similar to Infinity War, with this movie, even though they've slapped the Avengers on the title, it's that Doomsday title that really matters because you're gonna have RDJ film for 3 months. The Avengers characters. They're more like glorified cameos in their own movie. They're gonna be there for like maybe 10,
easily,
maybe 20 minutes.
But that's what the Avengers movies were. Is
yes.
They were like, what if we had other characters so we didn't have to bother to come up with a plot for
Thunderbolts? I think regardless of what happens, Thunderbolts will hopefully be a tone setter for whatever comes next, since it's actually been well received.
I agree.
Hopefully,
it was actually good.
Yeah,
It was actually a good movie.
they did it.
So, Joe, would you recommend
I would recommend Thunderbolts.
Asterix?
I would recommend Thunderbolts Asterix, but you guys have to keep an open mind because a lot of you Marvel fanboys, I don't know if your capacity for being a fan of cinema
get out of here.
will allow you to actually enjoy cinema because you have to be able to enjoy true cinema. If I see any of you idiots saying this movie isn't actually good, so they made a Marvel movie that looks like a real movie. It has those real emotions. It's not fart jokes.
Baseball bat, bro.
It's like
expect to lose a taillight.
Yeah.
Mob justice, you know.
That's just the loser kneecap.
That's just the start.
You're gonna have a metal kneecap for the rest of your life.
Yep, pretty much. It's just I would recommend it to you if you like good storytelling and you like characters and you like what actually makes a good character. Then I definitely would, and you like character progression, then yeah, and you want to see a movie that actually has real themes, that actually feels not just another carbon cookie cutter superhero movie, then I would definitely say see this movie. And
if you complain that the only cameo is the Fantastic Four jet, I'm gonna pretend it's an accent, but I'm gonna rear end you on the freeway.
I'm gonna put you in the.
I'm gonna be like, sorry, I don't have insurance. Then I'm gonna drive us.
I'm gonna put you in the cage with Peyton Reed.
Yeah,
and he can
Peyton Reed's literally in a dungeon hanging over Kevin Feige's desk, and he yells, "Why did Ant-Man flop? It was such a good movie. I don't understand. You hit all the beats.
You put him in the dungeon. I just wanted to make Spy Kids 3D again, man."
He starts sweating, and he's like, Michael Bay wouldn't have cut out those ass cheeks. Michael Bay never flops. Michael Bay wouldn't have cut out MODOK's ass cheeks. That's who they should get to direct Avengers. Fuck it.
Yeah.
We need that. We need Michael Bay. No, okay. James Wong does Avengers Doomsday. He gets it set up, and then James Wan. I mean, not James Wong. And then Michael Bay takes it home with Secret Wars.
Yeah, I'm down for that.
And
so it's just going to be 3 hours of endless explosions?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it's going to be either way. Yeah. I just think Michael Bay would be funnier about it.
Yeah, that's true.
Elena's bent over her motorcycle just ridiculously the whole time,
Yeah, 3 hours of that. Who doesn't love that, I guess?
You know that we're some warm-blooded men here at NTMA Productions. So, Aiden, do you recommend Thunderbolts?
Yeah. Hopefully this movie does good enough to knock a little bit of sense into Marvel on, making actual movies. So yeah, go see it. Goddard, would you recommend Thunderbolts star asterisk pound?
Despite some of the characters kind of getting forgotten and there being some messy pacing here and there, the fact that they decided to make something of a real movie and like a slightly funny and fairly original movie. And the fact that they resisted the temptation just to do evil Trump Superman again for the 55th millionth time. I think the fact that all that happened made this movie a worthwhile watch because at the very least it says that Marvel's really scared if they're willing to stoop so low as to make a real movie. And I think that's good because maybe they can be bullied into
making more
changing up the formula to maybe relax on the formula a bit and make something different, something new. Let
hire
somebody
real
write
directors
something
instead of working in the Parliament and making whatever the Marvel machine demands.
I think they should
get Edgar Wright back to remake Ant-Man.
I think
Ant-Man
Kevin
the
Feige should purchase Fat Bitch Superman from whoever owns that property and make that a movie.
I think Kevin Feige should make some purchases. I think he should purchase Bloodshot for Avengers Secret Wars and have Vin Diesel come back.
That'd be epic.
Then you're making
And then he meets up with Groot and he's like, who's this fat boy? You know? And then his eyes turn red or something. He goes really pale or whatever.
$1 billion paycheck.
The last movie released before COVID, famously. No one saw it.
Literally. I remember the day I uploaded that movie to our servers was the day that I got told that COVID was closing. Then I watched it like the day after. I think we were literally closed, and it was like our first day, and I was like, oh well, we watched Bloodshot alone.
Yeah.
And
he got Bloodshot watching Bloodshot.
hell yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean it.
Well,
You're not really gonna fill your action fix, and like if it's not really like an Avengers movie, really.
I feel like if you're looking for that kind of more Winter Soldier realistic, like more stealth kind of tone of like action sequences, I feel like you'll get more than what Captain America was supposed to give you. So I feel like if you wanted like good choreography and like actual like you like the spy stuff, you like gunplay, you like that sort of thing, I think you'll be delivered. And I think even though they don't go the full angle of evil Superman in the way that we don't want to see that shit, for the like 5 minutes that you see him could turn, I think it's a pretty good display of what Sentry is capable of doing.
It was fun for like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I'm fine with it for 5 minutes. It was fun for 5. It was fun for 5 minutes.
And it was 5 minutes.
And they gave us 5 minutes, and the fight scene was well done, and it was fun. And then it's like, then we're moving on from that.
I like that
Sentry. You guys
Sentry
can't complain that Sentry didn't punch some people.
I like that Sentry doesn't like out of all his powers from what we've seen so far, he doesn't like actually like have that like. My biggest concern about Marvel finally doing Sentry is, okay, well, they're not doing Hyperion right now, so we're not going to go too much into like super like manny feeling. It felt different enough.
They're not gonna do like Hyperion.
Yeah, I hope not.
It would be like because like DC's got the Seven Soldiers of Victory, which is just kind of their Avengers ripoff, and like I don't think either want to open the rabbit hole of like here's our knockoff Batman character. I mean, Moon Knight's like the closest, and they wanted to spare those comparisons by leaning into the Egypt shit a lot.
I mean, did you read about that? How like the reason they didn't go and go full out with Moon Knight is that in the timeline when they were gonna release when they looked at the schedule and they were gonna release Moon Knight, like when they were still filming it, right? They're like, oh well, the Batman's in theaters right now, so the Batman is in theaters. We can't really make him too much like Batman, so.
Yeah, I mean,
Moon Knight didn't turn out very good, but I think it would have been worse if it was just
Marvel because they were a little scared. They were a little scared for different reasons back then. They were a little scared to like. I don't know. They didn't know exactly what they were doing with Disney Plus at that time, so they're like, I guess he's talking to a fucking hippo for 45 minutes or whatever.
Yeah, I feel like if you really appreciate, like, if you're really sick of like, I feel like if you liked Guardians 3, but like you still want a different Marvel movie, you want to see Marvel do something, you're sick of the Deadpool and Wolverines, the trying to think, Ant-Man 3s and the horribleness of horrible, this will be a nice change of pace for you, and you don't have to have the same, don't go into this movie expecting you're going to get what Marvel, if you like Marvel slop, move on, buddy, you're going to have to go over to wait for Doomsday and Fantastic Four, and you enjoy that shit, that's your call, but we will enjoy watching good movies, and if this is a good movie, if you like good movies, go see it, support us, because you know that's also important. But you know, if you don't like good movies, then I don't know if we want you here. So
get the fuck out.